Hey gang, this is Lynn again, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own tassel with our tassel making tool that we carry from Beadalon. Now normally you would stick this to your workbench with these little suction cups, and if you have certain types of tables and it's not sticking, then you can use some clear packing tape. Just put down a section and it's supposed to help stick. But I'm working on a paper table, covered table, so I can't use either one. So what I'm going to do is tape it down with some blue tape, and hopefully it'll work for me as I make this tassel. Now tassels are extremely popular. We're seeing them in all types of jewelry and accessories, and you can make them long or short as you desire with this tool. And you can use a variety of different stringing material. I'm going to be using DMC floss today. I like it because it has such a nice, huge selection of colors. Okay, so these little bars can be adjusted and moved to these different spots on the tool. I'm actually going to be making a short little tassel, so I'm going to keep the bars rather close together. I'm going to take off the packaging for the DMC floss. Now I'm going to loosen up one side and kind of floss the end in and then tighten it. And then I'm just going to wrap. So it's not really holding as well as I like, but I'm going to make it work. Thank you.
Did you ever make it a live swim?
So if you just keep on spinning, you're going to make your own tassel, and I think this should be good, so I'm going to stop. Now here's the part that can get tricky. I'm going to cut off a nice length of tail. I'm going to hold in my non-dominant hand one of the prongs. I'm going to bring the tail over my forefinger and hold the bottom with my thumb, keeping it nice and tight so that it stays up. I'm going to get some bent nose tweezers. Bent nose tweezers going through the center, bringing it through, a little twist on that top, and tighten the knot. Okay, now I'm going to set the knot with a little bit of GS Hypo cement. It has a needle nose applicator, and that lets you get right onto the knot. Now, with the GS Hypo cement, you've got to make sure that you get this little needle back into the applicator. I'm going to try and get off some of that excess glue. So this will help prevent the glue from drying out, and it'll last you a lot longer. I'm going to release the end and slip my tassel off of the tool. Okay, so we removed our tassel maker. Now don't forget that I was working on a paper covered table, which was why it was a little bit awkward making my tassel. Normally it goes much more smoothly if you have a nice hard surface to attach it to. So I am now going to take my scissors and I'm going to snip right through the end of the loop. And I'm going to open up the center. Now I'm going to fold this later so that this is at the top of my tassel. I'm going to create a wire wrap loop. So remember, we did this before several times. We're going to take the wire, 90-degree angle, 90-degree bend, and I'm going to use my 6-step pliers. I think the 4th from the smallest would be a nice size. Bringing it right over. Stop, release, reposition, and close the eye. Make sure it's centered like a lollipop. Now I'm going to open this up just a wee bit because I want to slip my tassel into that loop. Okay, now I'm going to close that eye up and I'm going to wrap. Once again, trying to keep my wraps right next to each other. This is a 20 gauge wire, so 2 wraps should be enough. And I'm ready to trim off the excess. Now I'm going to take some gold thread. This is also from Beadalon. And I'm going to do a simple overhand knot. And I'm going to thread it through. And tie it around the top of my tassel. Trying to keep it nice and smooth. I like the way that looks, so I'm going to do another overhand knot. But this time I'm going to bring the tail through an additional time, and that turns it into a square knot, which holds much better. Now in my non-dominant hand, I'm going to hold the end of the tassel as well as the shorter length of tail, and I'm going to take the longer and I'm going to wrap around several times. And now I'm going to knot it up one more time. So we're going to start off with a simple overhand knot. Tighten that up. And then do the square knot by looping through 2 times and tighten. We're going to set it one more time with that GS Hypo cement. Now while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to embellish this portion. So I'm going to put on a little Buddha head. And I'm going to top it off with a bead. And I'm going to create another simple wire wrap. So pressing it down so that my beads are flush. 90-degree bend. I'm going to use the smallest step of my 6-step plier and do a simple wire wrap. Always try to keep your wraps right next to each other. And once there's no more room for wire, you can trim it. And press in any protrusions of wire. You don't want it to get caught on anything. Okay, so my glue should be dried already. I'm just going to trim off the excess. And now I'm going to even out the bottom of my tassel. So I'm just going to pull everything down. And I think I want it to end right about here. So I'm going to start to trim off. So when you're using scissors, make sure that you have a nice sharp pair. Once you start using these scissors on paper, it's going to get dull really fast and it's not going to cut through as cleanly. So try to prevent that from happening. A little bit of fluff and then just trim off any long ends, make it nice and even. And there we have a tassel. So the next time I see you, I'm going to be using this tassel onto a stretchy cord bracelet.